people who are against brothers traveling, or have the negative misconception with traveling, saying that brothers are quote unquote dusty, desperate, whatever the case is. You have to be a man of means. You have to be a man of means to be able to travel and move around, especially if it's 6 to 8 times, or even for years at a time, whatever the case is. You have to have some resources. You have to have something about you, long story short, and able to do that. So I don't understand why they would say brothers are desperate, or dusty, or whatever the case is. To me, that doesn't make sense.
Real quick, I think the thing that's annoying to me a lot of times with all this stuff is that there's just a lot of, again, like I'm saying, there's a lot of propaganda, misinformation, and people just saying stuff just to put out certain narratives. Like, for example, people say, because when people talking about receipts, see, and this is the thing that people don't understand. If y'all are paying attention, right, which most people don't pay attention, but if you were paying attention, you would see the receipts, meaning that on my ring, on my finger, this is a wedding ring. My girlfriend is in the chat of damn near every live stream that I do. She's in the chat right now, right? Basically, when you watch my shows, you'll hear guys call up and talk about how being on my program changed their life. So all the receipts are there. You see what I'm saying? But as far as me getting with other chicks and posting them on fucking YouTube and all that other stuff, that actually goes against what I teach. Because what I teach when it comes to game is about discretion.
I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
So what happens is that people start to spread shit that's not really real. And they're not actually talking about the real issues. So then nothing actually gets solved or accomplished because people just want to play around and do stuff. So the thing is this, is YouTube, and it's cool because certain things are entertainment, and that's fine. I think that's cool. But I feel like if you're trying to teach somebody something, right, there's part of that where you got to actually take it seriously in a sense. So even, for example, like even with Austin, if he's saying, look, I'm trying to tell, I think you did a stream earlier. I caught it real quick when you were talking about different hotels in Brazil and all that other stuff. So if you're teaching guys that, they should pay attention, watch what it is so that they could, you know what I'm saying? Like, do what they got to do. But I feel like there's so much of this playing around where it deviates the actual information. And there's a lot of people that are just looking for people to go back and forth and beef and do all this other nonsense. So I feel like the disconnect comes from people just not being honest, not being real. And you got people out there that's just trying to start nonsense all the time just to make shit be a thing where people are butting heads. Because me in general, I like to look at the ideas. I've always said that in all my videos. Even when I talk about someone or critique someone, I'm critiquing the idea. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not going at the person specifically. So that's how I look at it.
I got you. So basically what you're saying is that you're not trying to offend the person, but more or less it's about the action, not the person, it's themselves.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
In my opinion, the disconnect mostly comes from not even the creators themselves, or I won't even call them content creators, but not even the commentators, but more from the viewership, more from subscribership. If you look at when you take a look at chat rooms and everything, there's some cats in the chat like, hey, stop looking at the chat. Like, pay attention to basically like the topic at hand. It's like, look, we're all here for a purpose. We're going to look at the damn chat. We're going to acknowledge who's talking. We're going to acknowledge you because you're a spectator. This is what we do. And on top of all that, if you say something out of pocket, we're going to address it, especially if it's something relevant to this. And that's the problem that's been going on in the space. It's too cliquish. And the thing is, I understand that all of us, we have our own viewership, our own supporters, our own subs, whatever the case may be. And that's the problem, because it's almost like everybody has like a cult following, but it shouldn't even be that. If this is going to be one space, then everybody should be objective. Like, take it for example, like I've seen Lucario go on, shout out to Bernard Riley show. And what do everybody that chat go for? They go after his neck about the open marriage and all that other shit instead of just addressing the topic at hand. It's like, okay, if the topic is about something else, why are you addressing his open marriage? Why are you addressing him being a dating coach if he's married and all this other stuff? Same thing with Austin. And regardless of what he wants to go overseas for, why can't you just address the topic at hand? Like he said, if he's talking about which hotels you could come up on a dope price in a Brazil or a Colombia or whatever, pay attention to that. Right. Why do you care about why he's going over there?
And the thing is, just to kind of piggyback off what you said, Reese, and Lucario, I think that it really is a crab in a barrel mentality where it's just like either people don't want to see you do better than what they're doing, or it's like people don't want to believe in what you're doing, and it's just that they want to pull you down, right? And I don't think that us as men, that's not what the manosphere is here for. It's supposed to be about self-improvement, right? Now, if you say, hey, you know what? I don't believe in what Mr. Lucario was saying, that's cool. But you don't necessarily have to say, oh, like he's full of shit, he's lying, or whatever the case is. Now, if he has proof and people are purchasing what he has to offer, then let that be that. You don't have to purchase it, but you don't have to go say, oh, he's this and that, or Austin Holloman, right? People are saying, oh man, like you've only been to Brazil, like, or Colombia, whatever the case is. You don't know anything about traveling the world, but he knows what he knows from his experience. He's talking about his experience where he's been. So you can't necessarily take that experience away from somebody, right? So that's the way I look at it.
Dudes have been going overseas for years. Since some of y'all were probably 5 years old and 2 years old, older dudes. Like I was in Brazil when most of y'all were like 7 years old. You understand what I'm saying? So this is nothing new. Now, what happened was, and I'm not saying that anybody started that, but what I was hearing was people were saying that, well, because we have our passports, dating coaches are obsolete and game don't exist and all these other stuff. So if you're saying this about something and it's not true, I'm going to have to address it because it's not true. And so when you're saying things that are lies and that are not true or that's misinformation, it needs to be addressed, because if you're spreading misinformation, then what's going to happen is people who are trying to learn are not going to learn. Do you see what I'm saying? And so the problem is that, again, you have people out here that they don't give a fuck about what I'm saying. They don't give a fuck about what Austin's saying. They don't give a fuck about Reese. They don't give a fuck about Ken D is saying. They just want people to fight. That's it. They want to see a bunch of stuff. So for those people, I don't really care about those people. I just don't want to be associated with those people. That's all I'm saying. When certain people are in the chat or talking this and talking that, I don't want to be mixed up in that, because I'm a businessman and I actually help people for a living. You see what I'm saying? First and foremost. So that's the thing, is that when I'm doing what I'm doing this to actually help people. So when people are coming to run amok and to play games and to act like children, then I'm like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm not privy to this because I haven't checked this, but some of the people are saying that you did like a diss against the Passport Bros. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all, look, I did a diss song, and not even a diss song. I did a song about tricks. It's called Traveling Tricks. Okay. It's about people tricking. You see what I'm saying? So right. From what I heard, and Passport Bros were saying this, is that they not tricking. So I'm like, how is it about Passport Bros if y'all don't trick? You see what I'm saying? But if you're tricking, that's cool, but it is what it is. So we have to call it what it is. So for example, when I was in Brazil, I tricked when I was in Brazil, when I was like 22, 23. You see what I'm saying? So what it is that because I was tricking, I'm not going to come and say, hey, listen, when I tricked over there, when I was 21, 22, 23, I was doing some player shit, bro, man. I was doing all this, like I had like tight game when I was tricking. You understand what I'm saying? No, I was tricking. So if something is what it is, we got to call what is what it is. And that's fine. So this is my thing. I don't have a problem with people tricking. That's your business. I have a problem when people are saying tricking isn't what it is. That's the issue. And that's what I'm saying, where people have to be real about what's actually going on instead of just saying things that's not actually what it is. That's all I'm saying. You see what I mean? Like, just be about what it's about. You see what I mean? It's almost like if I would be full of shit if I was like, man, my coaching doesn't cost that much, and I'm just doing this for free because that's all I'm. No, you got to pay. The game costs. So I'm letting you know exactly what it is. Like, this is a business. I'm not hiding any of that. So if somebody's like, oh, Lucario's trying to make money, you damn right I'm trying to make money because this is my business. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to pretend I'm not trying to make money when I'm actually trying to make money. So if a person's tricking, that's cool. Just own up to being a trick, and that's fine. But you got to be, and this is what I'm talking about, being a man. If you're a man, then you would just own up to what you do and what you're about. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm talking about.
Do you think that they think that it's a cheat code?
They make it sound like it, but I mean, in order for you to be able to take off a month, 2 months total out of a year, you have to build yourself up in order to be able to do that. The average person making 50 grand can't take 8 weeks off a year from work.
Right. Yeah, and that's where I completely agree with, because I've been on some platform and some of the people who are against brothers traveling or have the negative misconception with traveling, saying that brothers are quote unquote dusty, desperate, whatever the case is. You have to be a man of means, and you have to be a man of means to be able to travel and move around. Especially if it's 6 to 8 times or even for years at a time, whatever the case is, you have to have some resources. You have to have something about you, long story short, and able to do that. So I don't understand why they would say brothers are desperate or dusty or whatever the case is. To me, that doesn't make sense.